swords.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Let the games begin.
Hello everyone, welcome to Velen's Chosen. We're ready to buff your game, and we exist to help budget players stay competitive on the ladder and end every season just a bit higher than the last, no matter what card pool you have.
Who's up for an adventure?
I am.
Oh man. Couldn't say it better, Murgleton. Couldn't say it better. Today joining me we have Evemartyn.
Hello, everyone.
Anything can happen, am I right?
Yes, I want to make that card work. I've been trying, but honestly, I haven't been able to get to turn 10.
And then we have Andrew Brown.
What's up? Every fin is awesome. You know?
Took the words out of my mouth. I'm just like waiting for Toast or somebody on YouTube to maybe Trollden to do the Everything is Awesome song and just like change it for Murlocs and use Murloc sounds.
I feel like it's too easy because he always comes up with smart,
Something
funny
good.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe he'll appease us.
We'll see. Everybody loves Murlocs.
Give us what we're asking for. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, so today's show, we'll just give you a quick rundown. We are covering Wing 3, the Ruined City, and we're basically just going to run through sort of quickly each of the cards you're going to be expecting to grab if you haven't gotten them already. We're going to kind of briefly run down which cards we like, which cards we don't like, and why, but we don't want to spend too much time there because we want to get you guys to the ladder and let you know which of these cards is actually important after running a few test runs on them and looking through what some of the pros are playing.
Which, let's just be real. If you really want to save time, are any of these cards breaking the game yet, Rob?
I think there's probably none of them. I want to say there's like one... I would say there's 3 cards, possibly 4, in this wing that are going to be seeing play.
Because here's an overall suggestion. I mean, whenever new cards come out, you want to watch the pros and see how they're testing things. And as I was looking through and watching them, there's one card that all of them are trying. Do you know which one it is?
It's Anything Can Happen.
No.
Lord Finley
It's
Murgleton.
No.
What?
It's
Oh,
Murloc.
it's Entomb.
No, it's Murloc Tiny Fin.
Really?
Just because he's so cute.
Because everyone wants to try the Murloc decks, but then people are actually putting him in the token zoo deck, and they're making a Hobgoblin token zoo also. So
Whoa.
So the Tiny Fin seeing play in the straight Murloc decks and in that zoo deck. So this
Weird.
0 mana 1/1, I mean, power creep, bro. Like Murlocs are taking over, you know.
Are they also running Wisps in that?
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I put
All right, so whip out your Hungry
Gorillabot.
Crabs and get ready.
Yeah, this might be the time that Hungry Crab is actually a tech card. That makes sense.
What were you saying, Eve?
I put Gorillabot A3 into my Mech Mage.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, some of the guys in their chat log for Vicious Syndicate were saying that they're really seeing like you can put that plus the Clockwork Knight into some Mech Mage lists, and it really gives you some more value, like in the mid game. So it kind of just smooths out the curve for Mech Mage and lets you kind of fill your hand a little bit more.
Okay.
And it's filling your hand with stuff you want to play anyways, so it's pretty sweet.
I like it.
But okay, let's get into it. Basically, we're going to run down what the bosses were, what did we play, and then what the bosses were in Heroic, and what did we play. Then we'll go through the cards you're getting this week, and then what cards we're playing. And then we'll get into emails, iTunes reviews, and where you can find us. So let's get cracking. What is our first boss? Andrew?
We had Lord Slitherspear, and that was kind of an interesting. It felt like a very different played boss than any other because it was like very clear stages, and you kind of control how the stages unfold.
Yeah, especially in normal mode.
Maybe the only one similar was was Major Domo in Blackrock. How you would get him down to a certain, and then Rag would take over.
Right, right.
So kind of similar there, but we got Huge Toad from him, which is the 2-mana 3/2 beast with Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So we're continuing to see Knife Juggler get reinvented. We had the Flame Juggler with the Battle Cry, now we've got the Death Rattle. But the fact that Huge Toad's a beast is probably the most significant thing. So this will be a good...
This could get you some crazy value off of your shredders. Like, if you get a Huge Toad off your shredder, you'd be very happy camper.
Yeah.
It's a good card to get from there.
I
So Lord Slitherspear was summon a Hungry Naga and give, if as soon as you killed the Cauldron, it would be give hero +2 attack this turn.
Right.
What decks did you use for that?
I used... What did I use? I think Fast Druid has just been my go-to for... And I think that one worked for this.
Not Aggro Druid, right? Just
what's the difference?
Fast Druid is just like quick ramp, and Aggro Druid is like Leper Gnomes and...
Well, I've got Leper Gnomes, but I've also got the Darnassus Aspirants. I mean, those...
Okay, so that would be the Aggro Druid list.
Okay. Yeah, I think I used a Tempo Mage for this one, because the first time I got just awful draws and was killed very quickly.
Yeah, I thought I could do it with a Zulok, and it didn't work out very well.
See, that worked for me. I used the Reliquary Zoo and smashed him.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Maybe I just drew really
all
bad.
Of the bosses.
Okay.
But again, I mean, I filled my board with all minions, and then I had like 5 minions on the board on turn 4. By turn 4, turn 5, and then I played Brant Bronzebeard into Reliquary Seeker, so I had a 9/9.
Oh, wow. You were taking over.
It was just like, GG.
Yep.
I went in with a pretty aggressive Paladin and managed to deal with it the second time
Flood
around.
Paladin would be good.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
Okay, so what's the other card that we're getting from this boss?
We got the Huge Toad, and then we got the Gorilla Bot A3, which Eve mentioned, we talked about on the show a few times. 4 mana, 3/4, Battle Cry. If you control a mech, discover a mech. So have you had good luck with that, Eve, so far?
Yeah. Being able to choose from 3 mechs, and I mean, there aren't that many bad mechs, and there's some really awesome mechs.
Get Mech Genio Thermoplug from that or something?
Yes.
Or Sneasel Shredder?
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Just another reminder for those of you listening, like, Gorilla Bot is a really great card for mech synergistic decks that are synergizing around your specific class, because Discover functions giving you a 4 times ratio, 4-to-1 of getting a mech that is your deck's mech, like a mage mech if you're playing mage, or a warlock mech.
Which would be a Soot Spewer, or is there
Chugger?
Or a Snow Chugger, yeah. So those are great options.
Yeah, and then if you're playing Warlock, you can actually build a pretty effective Fell Cannon deck with this.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So, pretty cool. I'm interested. I actually kind of want to try a Fell Cannon deck now that I'm back on the low tier of the ladder again. I think it might work decently. I'd have to like play with it some more, but...
I want to say this card was in the deck list for the Priest Challenge, because I remember getting options of mechs, and one of them is that one that gives health. There's a priest mech that gives health.
Oh, yeah. It's like a 5/5 for 5. Give a mech +4 health or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
I don't remember its name. I think it's just Repair Bot or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
cool.
I think it's a cool card, and I love Mech Mage anyway, so it was an auto-include for me as soon as it appeared.
Yeah. You know, anytime I see Discover cards, I feel like those cards are so good.
Yeah.
Like, and even if they're not a top tier card, I feel like they're a top tier substitution card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like these are, if people out there with budgets and not necessarily free to play, or people that are actually able to unlock these wings and get these cards, I think Discover cards are going to be something that you can really fill out your deck with, even though you may not have the cards you want.
Yeah, it definitely has the ability to give you cards you don't own. And to fill out gaps where you might be needing something. So yeah, that's actually a really good point.
And Noxious actually just put out a video. I haven't gotten to see it yet, about how Discover's like the best thing to happen to...
I just watched that.
Was it good?
Noxious is... Oh, it's really good. Yeah, okay. It's really good. The only problem was he has laryngitis right now, so...
Oh, yikes.
His microphone setup's really good, but it's not so good when your windpipes aren't
No,
working.
it's not going to be good for anyone.
Yeah. But yeah, Noxious has a lot of really good thoughts. I think that Noxious is one of the people on the interwebs in the Hearthstone community besides Kripparrian, those two guys are putting out a lot of things that are serving pretty much the scope of the community. Like Noxious actually had like 4 different spreadsheets on like how to farm gold effectively in the game.
Oh yeah.
And that's really good.
I did watch that one.
Yeah, so maybe I'll reach out to him and see if we can get him like to get some stuff for our show, or maybe I can get some resources to our listeners. But cool. So let's move on. And what do we do for heroic? Andrew, did you even try heroics this week?
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right, Eve.
Okay, so the heroic version, there's no cauldron. There's no give hero +2 attack this turn. Yeah, it's just summon a hungry Naga, and it's +1/+1 more than the
every
one.
Turn.
Yeah, every turn. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I tried a mill rogue, and it ended up working out for me pretty well, but it did take quite a lot of tries. It's not just going to be a insta kill. I mean, you could get lucky and get the perfect draw, but I actually haven't played mill rogue a lot myself, so just knowing how to play it properly was probably my downfall. If you're good at mill rogue, I would definitely suggest using that against this deck.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of good things to deal, especially with Bronzebeard.
Okay, so I got a lot of flack on the Hearthstone subreddit. I was talking with Eve a little bit in the pre-show because people are like, this is hardly a budget deck with 5 epics and 1 legendary. And I was like, man, you really don't know how to read very well, because if you read the whole list, I actually provide substitutions that are literally just as viable. So I thought that Black Knight, if you have it, is really good in this mode.
Yeah.
And I also put that in there. And I know that prep is really a utilizing card for anything you're trying to do in Mill Rogue. So I think you need to prep. But if you don't have the prep, you don't have the BGHs or the Doomsayers, it's okay. You have other options, okay? You actually can do Youthful Brewmasters. You can put in Explosive Sheep, Assassinate, Goblin Sappers, Saboteurs, Ironbeak Owls, Spellbreakers, which is what Eve utilized really effectively. And even if you have them, Kidnappers are actually pretty good here. Because they combo Return of Minion to the owner's hand. So the reason I put this deck list together, and why both Mill and kind of what Eve was saying it works, is because when he enrages the minions, those work as a buff. So they're actually still 1/1 Nagas. So if you vanish a bunch of a bunch of these 9/9 Nagas into his hand, he has to play them for 1 mana, and they're 1/1s.
Right.
So the way that I ended up winning against this boss for me was I actually utilized Shadow Steps instead of on vanishing and Shadow Stepping the, what are they called? Cold Lights, and using Gang Ups.
Yeah.
Which it can work. I actually used literally preps for Vanish just to get rid of cards
Sure,
and to sprint. But I used the Shadow Steps on the Big Game Hunter and the Mind Control tech to steal his high value targets. So I stole a Cavaldier Raider that was an 11/11, and every turn tried to keep it alive and reuse my Priest Hero power because I played Murgleton. So
oh right, that's awesome.
It was really awesome. I would heal for 2, and then I would basically finish off the game by hitting him with a Frost Giant that I stole from him, and a Cavaldier Raider hitting him for 16. So it worked really well.
Yeah, if you have Bronzebeard out, you can heal for 16 with a heal bot. You can steal 2 of his minions with a Mind Control tech.
Oh, wow.
You can mill him a heck of a lot faster with all of your Cold Light Oracles. Bronzebeard really helps out a lot in that.
Yep.
That's good.
The Big Game Hunter doesn't do as much unless you Shadow Step him.
Yeah.
Because like you can knock out 2 targets.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's good.
And Sap's really good.
I know we can't talk about it now, but I'm eager to get to Sir Finlay Murgleton so we can talk about him.
I cannot wait to talk about him. Okay, so
let's keep going.
Let's keep moving. Yeah. Let's on that note, we'll keep moving.
Yeah.
The next boss is Giant Fin, and I'll run through this one. So Giant Fin is basically a Murloc deck that does it better than anyone else because it has access to all of the Murlocs. And he's got 50 cards, and he draws the same amount of cards to fill his hand with as many cards as you have every turn.
Okay, wait one sec. I didn't see any class Murlocs in his deck. I never saw.
He only played neutral Murlocs.
No. I could have sworn I saw a Murloc Knight. I could be wrong, though.
I never saw
Okay.
one.
Oh, the only class card he has is Anything Can Happen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not the right one, though, because it gives him 5.
No. That's his 10 mana cost card from
Which
Paladins.
one are you thinking of? What's Anything Can Happen?
Anything Can Happen is a 10 mana card, summon 7 Murlocs that died this game. He does have it if you last that long.
Oh, I've never lasted that long.
Yeah.
I see the one that brings out 5 Murlocs that died earlier.
Yeah, that's a 3 mana spell that resurrects 5.
Yeah, that's his own personal card that I really
Right,
wish I had, because I'd stick it in my Murloc deck.
Yep, maybe they will. I never know.
They should give it to us.
Maybe.
Okay, so that's kind of the gist of the regular mode. And in heroic mode, he just draws 2 cards with his hero power and then draws 1 for his turn. So he draws 3 cards a turn, and he has 50 cards in his deck. So it's really tough to mill him.
Yeah.
And he has I think he has at minimum 10 Tiny Fins in his deck because he just spams those things.
I had so much trouble with this. This is the one I had the most trouble with. It was just absolutely ridiculous to deal with.
It's kind of nice to have that many tokens that are just free, and then you've got. I mean,
Right.
you think about actually being able to play as him, and it's like that's not even close to fair. You know?
Yeah, the Tide Collars just get huge. Like they'll burst you for 11
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And then he
So-
drops those ones that give them +2 attack and +1 health.
Yeah, the war leaders are literally the things that just swing the whole game to just being broken.
He drops old Murkai onto a deck with 6 other
Oh my
cards.
Make him stop.
Ah, man, yeah, it's just brutal. You just have to go fast and hard and try.
So the good news is it's actually pretty tame on your normal modes if you're just trying to get the cards.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So the cards you're gonna get from him are what, Andrew? What are we gonna get from Giant Fin?
You're gonna get the Anything Can Happen, which is the 10 mana Paladin spell, which reads summon 7 Murlocs that died this game, which is apparently more effective than we thought. I haven't actually seen it being played yet, but I know a lot of pros were playing with it and were talking on Twitter that it's a viable
good.
card. So
Yeah.
you can. A lot of people are making this this 1-turn kill deck that if you have the right charge minions and the right buff minions,
Mhm.
you know, you get 2 Murloc War Leaders, 2 Bluegill
Warriors.
warriors, and an old Murkai, then you can just kill them with one of those. And it kind of takes a perfect storm for that to happen, but but just getting 7 Murlocs on the board, that's really powerful. And then the other one is Murloc Tiny Fin we mentioned. It's the Wisp power creep because it's a 0 mana 1/1 with just
And
a
it's
Murloc.
20 times cuter.
Yeah,
Oh,
very.
it's so cute.
Especially the golden one with the little
Oh,
hearts
with the
coming out.
hearts.
Yeah,
Oh.
had to
I
craft
haven't
that.
seen that one. He has
Oh, yeah.
hearts.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta look it up, Eve. It's
He's just a
great.
little baby Murloc.
He
He's
just
just
makes
going
the
out there with
cutest
his little
sound.
sword. Yeah.
Like it almost made it a tiny bit easier to get beaten in the head with all the Murlocs when all these little cute Murlocs come out going.
Yeah.
I was talking with my friend Jamie, who's emailed us a couple times for the show, and he's like, I can't be too mad. It's kind of like getting mauled by cute puppies every time I lose to this boss. So
That's
it's okay.
funny. Yeah, and I think the reason that he's interesting is that this card can actually proc some other cards or be used. Like whereas the Wisp, there was nothing special about it. So I saw one deck it was used in with the Ancient Mage. It was stupid. But with the Murloc Tiny Fin, you've got a Murloc Tidecaller who is going to gain an attack by you putting the Tiny Fin down. You've got the Murloc War Leader, which is going to buff the Tiny Fin immediately. So
Plus
there's
3/2.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways that you can make it more than a 1/1 and get some value out of playing him immediately.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so that's why he's kind of making a little bit more of a and I think just the fact that you can have 4 0-cost 1/1s now in that token deck, that's why it's interesting.
Mhm.
Because those aren't running
Drop
any
your hand.
Yeah, they aren't running any Murloc things. It's just you can guarantee you can put 4 minions on the board, which is going to help you proc Gormok the Impaler or have enough for Reliquary Seeker or Sea Giant. And that's creating some value for people too.
Pretty cool.
And that's kind of the key with the new Murlocs is you unfortunately can't just go out and make a straight Murloc deck. It's not going to get you very far if you just, put Murloc into your search bar and put every Murloc you have into one deck. I tried that. It didn't work.
Didn't work.
You need to take the good ones and marry them with another deck, like Rob was talking about before the show. A good Paladin deck can work with Murloc Knight and some of the good Murlocs.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not going to last till turn 10, which was my problem with Anything Can Happen, that 10 mana cost. Like, I mean, for its effect, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But any kind of aggro deck doesn't want to sit around till turn 10. If you're still there by turn 10, you've run out of cards, you've run out of steam, and you're probably losing.
Yep. So my little opinion on that one, Anything Can Happen, from what I can see here, I'll give you a sneak peek, is like what Andrew said were happening with those. You know, they're 2/1s with charge, okay? And then you get maybe one War Leader that gets resummoned with it, and then you also maybe get a Old Murkai. Okay, so Old Murkai is a 2/4 with charge, gets 1 additional attack point per Murloc in the game, or on the field. So that means that you've got 1, 2, 3 additional Murlocs. So he goes up to a 5 attack charge minion, and then he gets another 3 attack because of the War Leader. So he goes up to an 8 attack charge, and then the 2/1s end up becoming 5/1s. So you can actually, if all 4 of those minions have died during any scope of the game, and you draw a 10 mana card and they don't have any taunts, you have, like, it's better than Pyroblast because you can hit them for 18.
Yeesh.
So it's somewhere between, like, even if it only represents 3 cards, as long as Murkai and War Leader and 1 Bluegill Warrior have died, that's 3 minions. And then the War Leader will go and make them both, like, that's 6 damage, 7, 8 damage, 9, 10 damage. So at worst, it represents 10 damage if those 3 cards have died.
Yeah, and I mean, you can really control which ones are pulled.
Oh, exactly.
By which ones you put in your deck.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's even better if your opponent is in a mirror match. So it's kind of like whoever plays Anything Can Happen first in the mirror match against these 2 deck wins, because they're going to get all of the minions that died this game.
Yeah.
It affects not just your Murlocs, but your opponent's Murlocs.
Yeah.
Which could be a great or a terrible thing.
Exactly. So
that's why it's a mirror
very
match.
Interesting archetype here. But,
one other thing is, just to mention, in case we haven't said it to our listeners before, the way to get the legendary Murloc Old Murkai is to craft or get every other Murloc in the game.
In the classic set only.
In the classic
which is
set.
important.
And then it'll just appear to you and you'll get it like you finished a quest.
Right.
So there's no other way to get it, to my knowledge. You can't craft it.
Exactly. You can craft it in gold. You can't even craft it in golden either. It's the same thing for the Captain's Parrots. The way you get you get Old Murkai in golden is you have to have 1 copy of every Murloc in golden from the classic set.
Oh, I'm actually pretty close to
And the
that.
same thing is what happens for 2 Captain's Parrots. You can get them in golden and in regular if you get all of the classic pirates, including Greenskin. So, yeah, so that's that. I think we'll just briefly go over 2 things with this boss before we move on. The first thing is, just in general, this wing, guys, is really hard. Like, I know we talked about it. It sucks. Andrew doesn't even want to do it.
Nope. Even less than before.
Yeah. So realize that when I'm creating budget lists, I don't feel limited by your card pools per se, but I feel like even if I'm limiting myself a little bit more to give you decks that have 1 legendary or 3 to 5 epic cards and people are complaining about it, it's okay, because I'm trying to basically push it down to as cheap as I can while still being able to win. It doesn't mean that it's going to be like basic cards you can beat all the bosses. I don't think Blizzard's designed them to be that easy, okay?
Just ignore Reddit.
Yeah, just ignore what Reddit is saying on my post and check out the decks and give it a few tries. And I would say, just like normal, give the deck 10 tries. You still might have a winning deck, even if it's not mine. So you're going to have to try.
A heads up, Rob and I may both have used adult language while playing against this boss.
I believe that.
It definitely has tested every bone of patience in my body.
I may even have thrown articles of pottery around my house. In frustration.
Were your kids in a safe place? That's what matters.
They were asleep in bed downstairs far away. So
Good.
made sure that was the case. But
You guys are
Okay.
brave, I gotta say.
So, Eve, what did we use to beat this? We're not going to go into the details of how you beat them because that's in my deck write-up.
Aggressive Hunter was what I did.
Yep.
If you have Explosive Trap and if you have Explosive Sheep, I would put 2 of those, 2 Explosive Sheeps and 2 Explosive Traps in there, which definitely helps you control the board as much as you can.
Yep.
And yeah, just go for broke, man. Take them down.
Yep.
It's not
he
easy.
doesn't play around anything to do with secrets. I don't know what it is, but the bosses do not know how to play around secrets in any of the adventures thus far.
Thank God. And you know what? They don't even play to the best advantage for their own cards. Like I see someone drop a Murkai, charge immediately with him, and then drop a couple
like 4
other
tiny
Murlocs. And I'm like, well, that could have been a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. I'm fine with it because it's ridiculously hard as it is to beat.
Yeah.
And if it was any smarter, there would be no chance.
I think they programmed some of it intentionally just to give us like little breaks in the system where if you take complete advantage of them, then you're good. But even with those things, like you said, it's extremely difficult to pull off. So
yeah. I actually played an Anything Can Happen counter Murloc deck with Paladin.
Oh.
So I ran 2 Hunger Cabs, 2 Doomsayers, and the dream is getting the Tidecaller on turn 1, and then he drops 4 Murlocs, and your Tidecaller's huge.
Oh, nice.
And then you play Argent Protector on turn 2, give it Divine Shield, and smack him for like 5 or 8. Pretty cool. And then Unstable Ghouls are also really good tech cards besides the Explosive Sheep and Doomsayers. So
nice.
Okay, that's kind of what we did for that one. Eve, why don't you tell us what we can expect from Nazjar?
At the end of your turn, replace all minions with new ones that cost 1 more. I enjoyed this boss.
This boss was awesome.
I wanted to play it more than once. I wanted it to turn into a brawl. Blizzard, please make this into a brawl.
The animation is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
So fun.
I think that's a really good point, though, Eve. It feels like a tavern brawl where
It's so cool.
There's so much random element, and yet you still control enough that it feels very fresh, and you kind of want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually understand how it worked when I read her hero power to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it meant that it was going to change all the costs of the cards in your hand.
Interesting.
So every turn I thought your cards were going to get more expensive. So I just made an entire deck full of 1-cost minions. Every 1-cost minion in the game.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Which actually ended up working.
Did it?
Because I was able to play minions every single turn, and the ones that were on board just kept getting more and more powerful every turn. So I was able to trade well and keep my minions on the board and keep her having no minions.
I mean,
did not work with the heroic version.
The key, it seems, are the sticky minions, right?
Yeah,
Just making sure you got minions with death rattle or that are just high health.
Yep.
Just somehow.
I thought this one was probably the easiest boss of the wing, ironically.
It's the only one I actually wanted to go back in and play just for fun. Like another time. I was like, I want to do that again.
I might go and do the heroic. How is it different in heroic?
Only her cards get better. Your cards just change.
They just change. I think they actually stay the same mana cost.
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. But they still change.
It was so funny because sometimes I felt like some of my 3-cost minions actually did go up or down. So it's kind of like random. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever you cost, it's going to stay that cost, but it's just going to randomize minions within that cost.
Yeah.
So you still want to have a curve, whereas she just gets better every turn no matter what. She ends up having a Ragnaros on the other side of the board.
I think I'm with you there. You can have a little bit of a curve, but I don't think you want to go past 5 because, like, all of my cards, I actually played like you did, Andrew. I thought a fast druid would be good, and that didn't work. And I was like, oh, I can just do token or egg druid. And that worked really well. Turn 1, Living Roots. Turn 2, Echoing Ooze. Turn 3, like, Mounted Raptor. And then turn 4, you can play another Echoing Ooze. And then, like, if all of your minions survive the next turn, you just play turn 5, you can do Savage Roar and Power of the Wild, and they're dead.
I think Druid's the way to go because of Mounted Raptor and because of Savage Roar. So as long as you can guarantee there's some stuff on the board, you can really take advantage of it and go a long way.
Yeah, like I included 2 Force of Natures in my heroic list even, and I only used 1. So I mean, you can beat the boss without it.
Sure.
It's super easy. Like I think you can beat this boss without a single epic card unless you like are really thinking the Echoing Ooze is that critical. I would even say you could put Poison Seeds in here, like don't clear the board, hit everything face, and then play poison seeds, and everything goes to 2/2s.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Basically, what I did was I went through and looked for a lot of cards that
summon
gave you
something.
other cards like Silverhand Knight, Dragonling Mechanic, Hogger,
Murloc Tidehunter,
Echoing Ooze, like you said.
Razorfin
And
Hunter.
then I used a Paladin, so I had Muster for Battle.
That's good.
Then I put
Get one
in Equality Consecrate,
Yep. That's
Alor
good.
Peacekeeper. Yeah, so that's how I ended up
That's pretty smart.
taking it down.
So
I was just glad that you used Honker. I was really proud of you.
Rob, you want to take us through the cards we're getting from this wing?
Sure, let's see. We actually cracked 4 cards because you get the 3 cards from the boss, plus you get the legendary from the wing. So the 3 cards you're getting is Pit Snake. It's a rogue 1-mana minion that is 2/1, and it has the Magic the Gathering Death Touch, or poison little thing in the bottom, meaning whatever it touches, it kills.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a Emperor Cobra, but it's like a 1-drop snake for rogues. I actually really like this card. I think it diversifies what you're going to get out of that Mounted Raptor. And if you have the dream of making your 1-drop flood decks with recombobulators,
Oh my gosh.
that could be really random. But no, like, Pit Snake's not too bad. I feel like it's one of those cards that Blizzard's added to give you just another tool for rogues later. I think it's a later use card. I don't think it's going to be good right now.
I mean, the nice thing is that it can bridge the early game for Rogue. So if you're playing more of a late game Rogue, which we don't have a good deck list for yet, but this could be a tool for that to ensure that your opponent isn't getting some really heavy stuff out early in the game.
And rogues don't have a 1-drop minion. I think that's a really important thing that we neglected to mention. Rogues finally have a 1-drop minion that they can enable their combos with. So, maybe this is what you want.
That's a really good point. I mean, any combo card, you want the really low cost cards. So
exactly.
Yeah, I did put this in my Heroic Lord Slitherspear deck.
Yeah, it drops anything, and he doesn't have anything unless he lucks out and has Frost Shock and deletes it.
But he does have a creature that does 2 damage to all enemy minions, and it can take that out.
He doesn't play that very often, though, which is nice.
Yeah.
Our next card is Naga Sea Witch. 5 mana, 5/5. Your cards cost 5. So this is spells and minions.
Weird.
And not just minions like Aviana. Aviana does your minions cost 1.
Weird.
This is a weird epic card.
And I saw
interesting.
I saw Dog actually playing a druid deck with it. So he ran a lot of really high cost minions, Cenarius and Sneasel Shredder and stuff like that. So the idea was to get this out on turn 5, and then turn 6 you're playing
something else.
Yeah.
That's higher than 7 mana. Yeah.
And I didn't stick around long enough to see if it really works. I think this is a card that is intriguing to deck builders, but it's so funky that I don't know it's really going to find a place.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that the one deck that this is really utilized in is the deck that already has Aviana.
Yeah.
I think that's the one drawback for me, but I do like that they're giving this tool to everyone to mess with by putting in the neutral set. I will say this. I put this in the news section, but we'll say it since we're here on the card.
Mm-hmm.
Aviana, when played after a Naga Sea Witch, overrides its overrides its effect for minions.
Okay.
So as long as your ordering is correct by playing Naga Sea Witch into Aviana, whether it be on the same turn or the next turn, your minions will cost 1.
Okay.
And then your spells will cost 5.
So you could play Naga Sea Witch and Aviana on the same turn if you have 10 mana.
Yes.
And then... Interesting.
But I think it's actually better to play a bunch of minions or something to taunt the board and to Naga Sea Witch, have it survive, and then your next turn you play Aviana into a crap ton of minions.
Yeah, it's such a hard board state to get to. I don't know if it's really going to happen.
The only good thing is that you can run 2 of the Sea Witches, and that's easier to get with Aviana than just drawing Aviana in the first place.
Here's the other interesting play is in a warrior deck. If you play Naga Sea Witch into Varian Rin the next turn.
Right, that's a pretty good play. It's kind of like helping warriors get to another archetype.
And warriors where the greedy, wallet decks happen, and that's where this card could be strong, is when you're getting all of those expensive minions for cheaper, half price or whatever.
Well, the first thing I thought of was putting it into a handlock deck. A one of into maybe the Reno handlock, and you could put all your giants out for 5.
Okay.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe like a Giants Sea Witch deck. That could be interesting.
The only hard thing is that playing the Sea Witch on turn 5, turn 6, you can only play one of those, and then you've got a 1-cost mana.
Yeah, Naga Sea Witch is the late game card.
Yeah, so that's where it's like, this card isn't really going to be helpful to very late in the game.
Yeah.
But, right. Okay, so let's move on. I think we kind of beat that one.
Yeah, we did.
Jungle Moonkin, 4-mana, 4/4 Druid Beast, which doesn't make any sense to me, because they're not beasts. But both players gain spell damage +2.
Weird.
You don't think a Moonkin is a beast?
It's not a beast in WoW.
Really?
You can't tame it.
Oh.
Well, that's true, because they're sentient.
It's a druid.
What's the point in giving your enemy spell damage? I mean, is it just to balance out the card so it's an early game?
I mean, this card would make so much more sense if it wasn't a Moonkin and it was in Mage.
I don't get it.
Maybe a mage card.
I don't get it either.
I don't think we're going to see this much. That's all.
I think this card is another one of the cards that we're not going to see much, and then it'll sweeping show up randomly later. I think that's what happens with a lot of the adventure cards.
Sure.
Is they show up later in some other kind of weird deck where you get more cards.
I guess I
think this is the first time we've seen Moonkin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the only Moonkin card in the game, besides Moonfire.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about that. The one place we might see this is in a Malagos Druid deck, which I've been watching some pro players actually tinker with that again. So something like this where you can get spell damage +2, it might like bridge you to your Malagos turn.
Yeah, it is the only card in the game besides the Ancient Mage that actually gets two spell damage in a turn.
So that's powerful for you, and I guess it's just a drawback for your opponent.
Yeah, so the drawback for both cards is that the Ancient Mage needs 2 other minions to give the spell damage, and the drawback for the Moonkin is that spell damage is shared.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Blizzard telling players spell damage is too powerful. You're either going to pay for it in a drawback or you're going to pay for it in the mana cost. So,
well, and for a 4-cost minion, I mean, getting spell damage out earlier. I mean, really, actually, here's what you compare it to. You compare it to a Frigid Snowbolt, which is a 2/6 with spell damage +1. So you got the same stats, but...
Yep. It's just spread out and 1 less spell damage. Spell damage is very powerful in Rogue. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good that they didn't put this in Rogue, because Rogue would be just nuts with this card.
But let's get to our favorite card here.
All right, Andrew.
So Finley Murgleton, I was interested to see if he was actually just gonna do Murgle speech the whole adventure, or if he would, but he actually has educated himself so he can speak proper English, which is impressive.
The best is when Giant Fin says like Murgle at the start, and Murgleton's like, "Oh, how rude."
That's unnecessary language.
Murgleton's a 1-cost legendary Murloc. 1 attack, 3 health, battle cry, discover a new basic hero power. So he is going to let you choose 3 other classes' basic hero powers, which is such a unique thing. And I got to tell you guys, as we were starting this episode, I was looking on Hearthstone at some deck lists, and I found one for Shaman, and they were calling him Dr. One because because he was helping so much. I mean, you think about the biggest problem with Murloc Shaman specifically is that the totems don't help you at all. So being able to play Finley on turn 1 and get the Warlock's basic hero power, so you can actually draw through the game. Or the mage, the bigger one,
or the paladin.
They were arguing the top 3 that you want are Warlock for card draw, Hunters because you're doing face, damage. And then Druid because if you have a Doom Hammer, you can add the 1 attack to it. And,
oh my god!
Yeah, so there's a few.
No.
And with the Discover mechanic, you're almost guaranteed. You got a really good chance of getting one of those 3 at least. And the other ones.
I actually did the math for this, Andrew.
Okay, tell me math.
Okay, so there are 9 heroes, and your hero power will always be excluded from the Discover. So you actually have 8 potential options.
Sure.
Okay, So that means you have a 3 out of 8, which means if you are looking for only one hero power, so let's say instead of having 3 options like Andrew was saying that are actually good, right? You have the Paladin, the as the worst of the 3. The second best would be the top 3 are in order: Warlock, Hunter, Paladin, and maybe Druid. So they're probably tied there, right? But if you only wanted the Warlock one, it's like, that's the one I want. You have a 37.5% chance of getting it.
Which is good.
Which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have, like we said, you have 3 hero powers you're looking for, your chances go up 3 times. So that is, you have a 90% chance to get one of those hero powers.
So just the fact that you get to choose, though, is huge. If this was just replace your hero power with a random basic, it would be interesting, but it wouldn't be really usable. But this Discover mechanic is perfect for this.
So good.
I also love that Finley costs 1 mana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just makes it
He's
so
the
versatile.
only legendary in the game that costs 1 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how much does the spell power?
2.
Really?
Blood Mage Thalnos is 2 mana.
2, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, 2 mana is Thalnos, 2 mana is Millhouse, Mana Storm, 2 mana is Nat Pagal.
Now, I will say I've been playing a Murloc Shaman deck just to try things out, and I was playing against a Druid, and I killed his mounted Raptor, and he got Finley out of it, and I was so mad because I had a War Leader on the board who buffed his. It was like that. Come on, that's not even cool.
Yep. Mounted Raptor confirms, screws up Murloc deck.
Yes, but Finley is just an interesting card. He's not going to break the game. He's not going to change it, but he really makes Murloc decks possible, I guess is the right way to say this.
So what is the card, or this card is a card that you would want in fill in the blank. What deck?
Okay, this is what I've heard discussed, is that in Warlock, after a certain point, you don't want to draw cards anymore.
It's true.
You've done so much damage to yourself, or you're milling yourself, that your hero power is just going to sit there every turn and you're not going to want to use it. You throw out
then what do you want?
You get, I don't even know, it depends on what you're up against, I would imagine. You might even want to give yourself Priest, who knows. Mage, I like personally a lot.
Yep.
Dealing 1 damage on the board is extremely versatile. It's probably the most versatile of all of them.
So I think that Murgleton is going to give you a long turn, because you've got to spend most of the turn figuring out which of those 3 hero powers you want, because in theory, the 2 hero powers you don't want, one of them is guaranteed not to show up, which is yours, and the other one is going to be Rogue.
Oh, come on, Rogue's not that bad.
For Warlock, it kind of is.
Well, for Warlock.
If you're in the late game, it's not going to work. Because you're going to be taking too much damage.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about overall, like, it's the worst hero power to get, but
No. Well, and you think about it just compared to Druid, if you're in the late game and you're only playing, if you're top decking, you're going to be using your hero power each turn. You want to have that extra armor instead of the,
So Druid's fine. Priest is really good. Filling up the board with dudes is fine.
Warriors
Getting a Warriors for 2 armor is really good. Because it still keeps your Molten Giants in range. Like, that's pretty sweet.
Now, here's the crazy thing.
You can pair this with what card, Andrew, that's also legendary?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Justicar? Is that?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually what I was about to say, is if you have Justicar in that deck, whatever your new basic hero power is, you can... I saw a picture, and it was of a hunter that still had 30 health and had armored up to 120 health. I don't know. I don't know if it was for real or not, but
Shield Slam Hunter confirmed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. Yeah. So craziness could happen. Craziness could ensue.
Deck makes a lot of interesting decks even more interesting, so we'll put it that way.
Yeah. This is a playable card. It's going to be played, and it's going to mess with games. And it's been really cool to see how this set is changing the game, not in like fundamental ways, but in opening up possibilities. With Reno and now with Finley. I mean, it's happening.
And Bran.
Oh, I had an idea. You know when Priest, you get to the very end and you just have nothing to end the game with? You use your stupid healing power every turn.
Hunter?
Yeah.
I think
That
it would
could
be
give
good
you
to get
close
Druid or
game.
hero power from Warrior.
Sure.
It helps you in the mirror match and the control match.
Well,
Sure.
for Mage and Hunter, it just goes right past Taunt.
Yeah.
So if you just need to get a bit more damage, because there's been so many times where I play Priest that the other guy has like 5 health left, and I just have nothing to close the gap.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything.
Mhm.
And if you could change your hero power at that point to either Hunter or Mage.
Yeah. All right, so I'll talk about one more thing before we move out of Myrtleton space.
We gotta
All right, so
keep moving.
This is okay. So I'm actually wanting to try this in Freeze Mage.
For
What would you turn
Hopes
your
of
hero
getting
power
what?
to?
I'm thinking if you get the Murloc hero power, you're pretty happy.
Murloc hero power?
Or the Warlock hero power.
Warlock,
wow.
yeah, okay.
If you get Warlock, you're drawing more cards.
Sure,
You don't have to ping your loot hoarders anymore.
sure.
I'm also thinking you can get a Druid hero power to get some more armor. You can get a Warrior hero power to heal, or you can get a Priest hero power to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I feel like the Mage cards are what you want, but the hero power is sometimes iffy.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fair.
true.
The
So,
hero power is
good.
perfect for the beginning of the game when you're just trying to kind of clear the board and
Mhm.
if your opponent's playing a lot of. But yeah,
And it
it's
works with
interesting.
explosive sheeps and stuff too.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so let's jump into some news. What's the first
Wait.
news?
We've got class challenge cards. We got to hit these
Oh
fast.
gosh, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so class challenges, we'll just talk about the cards. The challenges are basically repeats of the normal bosses with new decks.
They were
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
All right, Eve, what's a priest getting?
Entomb!
Into!
So
Oh,
heavy. Want to use it? Want to try it? It's going to be fun. Take
Make it
the
a
other
golden.
enemy's minion, put it in your deck. Yeah.
Coolest
Doesn't
golden card.
trigger death rattles. Doesn't. Yeah. It's good.
Steal somebody's
It's good.
Sylvanas.
It's
Feels
good.
good, man.
Priests are
All
so
right.
dirty.
What are hunters getting?
Dart
Andrew?
trap. Oh, sorry.
No, you go
Okay.
ahead.
2 mana secret. When an opposing hero power is used, deal 5 damage to a random enemy.
The only thing I hate about this is I kind of want this one to have like the guy from Star Wars come up and be like, "It's a trap," and then like,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
That's funny.
All right, shaman card, Andrew.
And this one's every fin is awesome. 7 cost. Give your minions +2/+2, and it costs 1 less for each Murloc you control. And
This is shaman.
yeah, and it's a shaman spell. The interesting thing is it's not crazy for this card to be usable on turn 4. And if you're like I've had that where you'll have 3 Murlocs on the board and then it costs 4, and you can pretty much kill them at that point. So the big thing
Yeah.
is if your opponent can't clear your board and deal with those Murlocs, the game is over on turn 4 or
Yep.
5. So this is a powerful card, but if your opponent's smart, they'll clear your
Mhm.
board, and then you're left with nothing but this in your hand, which happened to me several times. So
I want to try this in after playing Neptulon.
oh yeah.
I'm interested.
Holy
so,
crap.
And it's important to mention that the mana cost goes down only for Murlocs that are on your board, but the +2/+2 goes to all of your minions. So you've
All
got
minions,
a Flame Tongue totem, you've got other totems, those work. Those get the
Yeah.
+2/+2
Yep,
buff,
good.
which is powerful.
Okay,
Kill the
Let's go into
Murlocs, people.
news.
If you see the Murlocs, kill them.
Yeah,
use the hungry crabs.
that's right.
right.
I dusted mine.
No.
I went
Uh-oh.
into the deck to look for them to go against the big Murloc,
Whoops.
and I
Yikes.
had tried to make a legendary earlier and dusted all of my non-essential cards, and I dusted
Aw,
my
sad.
crabs.
Oh well. All right, what's the top of the news here, Eve? What we got going?
Well, you say new Shaman Thrall card back.
Yeah,
I
so
haven't
this is
actually
coming.
seen this.
It's
Is it
pretty
cool?
cool.
That looks
Yeah,
nice.
basically they took the
Look how-
totem from Warcraft of the orcs and they put that on the card. So it's got that little like double-bladed axe with the big center that has the horde symbol on it. Pretty cool. And they
Oh,
just put the
man.
Hearthstone symbol in the middle.
Okay, it sort of looks Christmassy.
No, it
No, it
doesn't.
It's got red. No, I'm sad. Oh, I thought we were
Yeah.
gonna get a Christmassy themed.
The
But I
closest
guess
cool theme we got was cupcakes, and I'm pretty sad about that.
if it makes sense that there's so many different religions of people across the world who play Hearthstone that they're
Uh-huh.
not just gonna go Christmas card back, but it still does make me kind of sad. I wish we could get one somehow.
Yeah, for all the events they have going on inside of the game for like all the religious structures, you think we'd get one like a Christmas one year, the Hanukkah one next year. We get a Thanksgiving one year. It's like
well, we got the
you can do
Halloween
something.
one. Don't forget that. So
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like the only holiday we get is
It is sort
Halloween.
of something that all creeds have, and it's not specifically like celebrating the Day of the Dead and All Souls Day and things are sort of across the board.
Mhm.
It's not really denominational, so I can sort of see that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's
Plus
okay.
they have like the haunted horseman in the game and stuff. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is something interesting that Ben Brode said on Twitter December 1st, that he will be soon to upload a new video on the team's philosophy about card text. And he also promised that there is going to be bug fixes and wording adjustment on a good chunk of the cards in an upcoming patch.
Yep.
Now,
So
I really
I'm
like
really
this.
excited about that.
I'm looking forward to it. As soon as it's up, I'm going to watch it, and I would advise everyone who cares about Hearthstone to do the same.
Yep, I mean, this is the precedence of, like, basically how Disguised Toast became famous. Like, he makes videos about the inconsistencies within card text and why the interactions are goofed up in the game.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting watch for sure.
Yep.
I know he takes a lot of heat from people, but he serves a very important purpose. And we need to be able to criticize our games while still loving them, and be able to take criticism of our games while still loving them, because they can always get better. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a Raptor Rogue list here before emails. I don't know how in depth you guys want to go with this, but I think this is a really powerful. This is a really powerful deck that is very cheap. And I talked with a friend of mine named T, who's also good friends with Eve, that made this list recently, and it's really good.
Yeah, the Raptor Rogue is really becoming. I mean, you just have a lot of minions that are sticky, so it's really hard to mess with your board completely unless you got some silences and the right cards. So it's a good one to try out if you're looking for a budget deck to try on the ladder.
So I linked the guy who created a different version of this than what you're seeing, because there's actually like 3 different lists. One's like super late game, one's super mid game, the other one's really bursty. Okay. I don't think that any of those ones are particularly super strong. I will say the bursty one seems to be in the meta the most, because the Cold Bloods and the Abusives with Brand are pretty crazy. But the list that my friend Andres from Hearthaholics, he's a co-host there, put together has healing in it. So it has a heal bot in it, which is very different. Like, this deck struggles because you sometimes just die, which is just what happens when you play Rogue. Like, you use your hero power and you get hitting stuff for 1 and you die. So, but what you can put in this deck also is like a Thalnos to help a little bit of your spell damage when you're doing like your Eviscerates and some other spells that you'll be using. There are 2 big legendaries in the list that are called Cairn Bloodhoof and Sylvanas, and they're 6-drop slots, but you don't have to have them. So I put in our show notes. We're not going to be releasing this because we want you to listen to the whole show. But substitutions that you can put in here are what? I'll let you guys kind of go through these.
Sledge Belchers, Sky Golems, Anubisoth Sentinel, Gormok the Impaler. What is he? Is he a epic?
Gormok is a legendary. That's a 4-drop. So if you fill your board, you can throw a spear and do 4 damage or something.
Okay, so that's kind of expensive.
Probably the weakest
but...
it's kind of the weakest option there, but the Sludge Belchers and the Anubisoth Sentinel and the Sky Golems are kind of what you're really looking for.
Here's what you need to do, because especially with budget players, everyone's going to have different cards. Go to your My Collection screen, search for Death Rattle, and then look through just those effects. Look at what cards are missing out of your curve, and then pick strong Death Rattle effects and hit those. That's what you need to fill your deck with.
Good idea. Yeah.
Cool.
I can't believe how much I'm seeing Quagan and Stalag.
Yeah.
He's in so many decks. It's so fun. Like, when they first came out, I thought they were so neat, and now I'm seeing him in Warrior. I'm seeing him in Mage.
They're good.
What?
Yeah.
Yes!
I've been seeing him in
Ridiculous.
Reno Warlock. It's really good.
Yeah.
Reno Mage is what I saw him in. It was just insane.
Okay. You can also replace Kel'Thuzad with some really fun options. So I'm actually taking him out for a new Barak while I'm on the low ladder, just because I thought it was cool. Deathwing is also a really fun legendary you can run around in this deck, because it kills all your death rattles and enables the board after you hit the board with everything.
Nice.
You wipe the board, play Deathwing, and get all your minions to resurrect. It's pretty cool.
Isn't Kel'Thuzad from one of the adventures? Isn't he a
He's the final boss of Nax.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you get him as a legendary if you
Yes.
finish one
Yes.
of the... Yeah.
He's
See?
the easiest legendary to acquire for this deck because it comes with an adventure.
Yeah.
Same with
He's
Fugan and
super good.
Scalag. If you have those, you can probably work those into this deck.
Oh, so I will mention this. Kel'Thuzad breaks the adventures. So if you ever get Kel'Thuzad out behind a taunt, he will break the bosses of all the adventures. They haven't put a fix in yet, and I don't know if they're going to or if that's intended.
Oh, that's true.
But it is a very cheap way to win against pretty much any boss. Unless they have something in their deck that can remove Kel'Thuzad, they will just do nothing each turn. They won't attack your taunt minion. So
yeah, they just leave it up because they're like, well, why would I kill it if it's just going to be resurrected? So
yes.
they just
So it
don't
kind of
make
breaks
smart
the
decisions.
AI. If you have Kel'Thuzad and you're having a lot of trouble with the heroics and you want to try it out, if you can get him out behind a taunt, it will pretty much pause the AI on the other side.
Okay, so we have 2 emails this week. Oh, man.
Yeah, so hello, Velen's Chosen Podcast. I've been listening since your first podcast. I must say, I think it's a great podcast. Why, thank you, Garrett. You're all great to listen to and all add on a different perspective to things. I love the focus on budget players and genuinely can't find a Hearthstone podcast the same caliber. Wow. Kind words. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
He says, I'm more than maybe on Battle.net, and when I had found I had just started a free-to-play account after having reset my iPad and forgetting my Battle.net info, I couldn't justify buying Nax and Blackrock Mountain again, or at least just yet, so this podcast was perfect for me. I'm between rank 15 and 10 at any given time, and have been struggling to push past 10 for any extended period time. I've read many guides, tried many decks, and nothing seems to be working. I don't expect you to be able to tell me what I'm doing wrong without being able to watch my play, but how do I deal with the burnout frustration of being stuck here? Also, what do you think about Hearthstone coaches? I've been very tempted to get a session or 2, but I'm not sure if I should just buy Nax, Blackrock Mountain, and League of Explorers with my money instead. Thanks a bunch. Love the show. So you got a couple of questions here. The first thing is how to deal with burnout frustration on the ladder, which all 3 of us on this show deal with constantly. And I mean, if you play the game for any amount of time, you deal with that. And we'll just hit briefly on something we've talked about before, which is goals. Having your own personal goals of things that you want to accomplish in the game are what's going to help you. So ultimately, everyone wants to be legend, right? So that's something to put as a long-term goal. Create short-term goals for yourself. So whether that's breaking into rank 9 or really feeling like you've mastered a deck, maybe even setting a goal of getting to a certain level with a certain class or hitting beating certain heroic bosses, stuff like that. There's all sorts of stuff you can do to kind of shake things up. And a big thing I'm going to tell you is that when I'm just completely done, when I want to play the game, I stop myself and I don't play it. Instead, I go onto Twitch and watch some pros play it and learn from them. And so you still get the same rush of playing the game, but you're actually able to learn and grow as a result of hearing how they're processing things, watching the decks they're building, and coming up with ideas from that. That's the biggest thing I will do when I'm hitting a wall. What do you guys do?
I actually thought about this a lot, and I know we get asked a lot how to become a better player and how to get past, like, if you're running up against a wall playing Hearthstone. So I tried to think about it in a different way so we could have kind of a different answer than we usually do.
Sure.
And I kind of thought this way. I feel like the different classes in Hearthstone are like different sports. And when you find one that works well for you, you do better with it. So one that plays to your strengths, one that plays to the way your mind works, one that you have more fun with. Just because a deck out there is really competitive, like Patron Warrior, for instance, if you're not able to think about it properly and figure out the way that it works, then you're not going to be able to play it well. So it's like when I started playing World of Warcraft and I tried Warrior first and I was like, this doesn't really feel right. I don't feel well. And I tried Priest and it just wasn't working for me. And then I tried Paladin and I was like, I love this class. And I played the heck out of it because it just, all the spells I liked and the way the class played. So if you find that class type that really works well with you, and even the deck type that works well with you, you might actually end up having way more success than you ever did before. So I think it's a good idea to experiment with a lot of different kinds of decks and a lot of different kinds of classes, because you may kind of jive with one that you find, and then all of a sudden just it works with the way your mind works, and you can understand it better and you can play it better.
It's good.
So that's my idea.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw this out. His second question was, what do we think about Hearthstone coaches? I've tried it before. It's not it's not going to fix it. I'll just say that. So if I would say that if you want to invest for like a long period of time or something, then you can probably develop a relationship with a coach who really knows you, and that can be super helpful. But don't think that if you just drop money on a one-time thing or something that you're going to figure out what's wrong and get better. I would say you can get the same experience by watching people for free on Twitch, and that's probably, and if you're a budget player, I'm guessing you don't have money to drop on coaches like us. So,
and I would absolutely suggest you go to the Hearthstone TAC podcast nights, or not podcasts. What is it? The gatherings,
Mm-hmm.
because that's like free coaching. We do
That's
have
great.
a couple of players who are legend. They have reached it either every month or have reached legend before.
Mm-hmm.
And getting into the groups and then having people spectate your games is pretty much like free coaching.
Yeah.
And it's a ton of fun.
Idea.
So if you can make the meetups, that is just like coaching, and it's a ton of fun with people that are super friendly and they don't judge and they don't criticize, and we're all there just to hang out and have fun playing a game we love.
And
so,
if you search for TAC podcast subreddit, you'll find all the information about those nights and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on the coaching, guys. I think you guys are hitting it spot on. There's such a vast community of players. If you just ask, try to get involved with other communities, even just ask around. It's tough to fill your friends list sometimes. So add us and maybe jump into some streams of some lower cost players that are like not really popular but have really good insight, and maybe are pro legend players, or join communities that have them, and show up some fireside gatherings and get some tips.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have another email, but we are running really short on time, so we're going to go ahead and just read off the same person also left us an iTunes review, so let's just read that off instead. Eve, why don't you go ahead and read her off?
Fiery Violet. Informative, in-depth, and enjoyable. 5 stars. This podcast is an excellent choice for both new Hearthstone players and those looking to up their game. The chosen ones are up to date on current meta happenings and are friendly and enjoyable to listen to. Hold on to your explorer's hats and get ready to be blown away. Wow.
So clever. So
That's
clever.
great.
That was awesome. I love that one.
Thanks, Fiery Violet.
Awesome. Yeah, Fiery Violet's the one who sent us an email last week about the Beast Druid. So we'll be sure to follow up with her second email next week, because we're running real tight on time and we got to get rolling and other things today. But Andrew, how can people get involved with our show?
There are lots of ways. Review the show, tell somebody about it, find us on Twitter, check us out on Patreon, play Hearthstone with us, play Destiny with Eve. We can ask us to coach you and email us with questions. Lots of ways.
Yep. And we're starting to take crazy game stories if you want. I really like that aspect of a couple shows that do that, and I just like having crazy game stories. We won't do it every week, like not this week, but if we have time for them, we'll put them in the show.
And by the way, just to fill that void for this week, this week's Tavern Brawl was crazy. I know you guys weren't as fond of it, but here, just consider this for a second. I got a Hobgoblin.
What?
Oh,
Hobgoblin
wow.
with all of the chickens.
So all of a sudden,
chickens.
those chickens are pretty powerful, and it means I got another Hobgoblin. That was
Oh my lord.
that was golden.
Sweet.
I just had bad luck. Like the other guy on the other side got that card that gets +1/+1 every time you play a card.
Questing Adventure.
Yikes,
Yeah.
That'd be a good one too, man.
That's scary.
And there's like no removal.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was
Anyway.
brutal. So that's
Okay.
why it wasn't my favorite.
All right, you can find the show at Velen's Podcast on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, or also you can email the show at velenschosenpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Patreon, like Andrew was saying. If you like to find the full show notes are always on our website and where we always try to get people to go for the resources. You got all the links there. It's on velenschosen.posthaven.com. And then you can find us on RSS and Stitcher. And if you're using Androids, you can tell your Android friends we're also really compatible with Podcast Addict. So that works. And then Esports Hero, if you guys are wanting to use some of coins like digital currency, you can get 5,000 coins to try it out for using the code VelensChosen15 with no spaces. Andrew, where can people find you at, man?
Find me on Twitter at AndrewIsLiving. I'll be trying to push the legend again probably this month. We'll see how the first couple weeks go.
Awesome.
But I try to update every now and then on there. And you can search me on YouTube, BinacaFreak, to find some tips for Arena or BattleNet. I'm Andrew's Live, number 1973.
So, Andrew, before we go into where we can find Eve, where did you peak at last season?
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about it. I got up to rank 1, which, man, that's, my highest before that was rank 3. So I'm really, really proud of that. But it is definitely a bummer to get that high and then then not quite make it. But that's okay. Keep getting better, and the only way to get better now is by hitting legend. So
there you go.
So
we're cheering for you, Andrew.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, Eve, where can people find you at?
I'm on Twitter at Finnovar, FHINNOVARR, and on Twitch as Evemartyn, EVEMARTYN. If you want my BattleNet, message me, and I will friend you, maybe.
Friend me, maybe?
That's hilarious.
All right, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at NotRob. You can find me on Facebook and Twitch at NotRob, or Facebook at NotRobMedia. It's for my online portfolio for designs and photos and stuff. You can find me on BattleNet at Twick1198, TWIK. Steam, if you want to play some Rocket League, we've been playing a lot lately. It's a Sir Twick with no spaces, SIRTWIK. You can find my other podcast that's goofing around with some other goofballs called the Maze Podcast, MAYZ. We're on Stitcher, iTunes, Twitter, Facebook. You can find them there. So that's it for me. It's it for the show. I think we'll take that cue and split out of here.
Get ready for Reform.
Yeah, we better prep for the Arch Thief, as it were.
It's going to be fun.
Not all who wander into Arch Thief's lair are lost. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Did I miss it?
He stole my staff, damn it.